Yes, we are. All right, so karibuni sana, and today we wanted to kuna watu wengi kwa line. Today I wanted us to just have a mock interview. I don't know how we do it. Do we do like a few questions per person, or do we do one person? And what do you people think? Because I want us to have some order. Do we do like a few questions, one person, or one question, several people give input? What do you guys think?
I think
Maybe one
question.
question we put in, several people put inputs.
Okay. That's what we are going to do. So I will start with question number 1. And what we'll do so that we are organized, we just raise your hand, and then in order of the hand raising, I will just call your name, and then you can always present. Okay. So we'll start with this question. Tell us about yourself and your teaching philosophy. That is the question number 1. So as soon as you're ready to answer that question, Rashid, you'll go first.
So I start?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Omondi Rashid Okoth. I am a teacher of math and business education. I have taught for the last 5 years in a high school in Kenya. Therefore, I have 5 years experience. I have a Bachelor of Education with Information Technology from the University of Nairobi. I also have Advanced Diploma in Marketing from Kenya Institute of Management. I have also trained as a guidance and counseling. And because of this certificate, I was made to be the head of guidance and counseling in my school. As the head of guidance, I was also awarded certificate of recognition for championing mental health awareness in my school. Thank you.
You have not incorporated your teaching philosophy, but that's fine. So someone else can give us their take of that question. Ala? Yes. Oh, no. Wewe umeshaongea.
Teaching philosophy.
Ngoja
Okay.
mwingine aseme kwanza, and then we come back to you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Nobody is carrying up their hand though. Ama watu wamekwama.
Teaching philosophy ni ngumu.
Lazima utupatie teaching philosophy yako. Sawa, Lilian, endelea. You'll unmute yourself, Lilian. Lilian, unmute, eh? As she's looking for the unmute button, anyone else? We can go on. Then Nani.
Is to always give the best to my students, taking into consideration the varied learning abilities of the students in any given class. Varied abilities come in different ways. For example, in a class, we could have students who are fast learners, students who are average learners, and those who take time to understand the concept. Therefore, whenever I prepare my lesson plan, I have to take care of all these varied learning abilities. Learning abilities also come in the form.
Is on now. Lilian, unaweza kumjazia. Ala? She has dropped.
Therefore, my teaching philosophy. Yes, I'm done.
All right, anyone wants to fill that for okay, Lydia endelea. Devin itabidi ni kumute. Lydia, unmute yourself. Aya, huyo ameshindwa. Benjamin, karibu. Endelea. Ala, hakuna mtu ana unmute. Lilian, we can hear you whispering, but we cannot hear you talking.
No, I don't know. I pressed why ikapotea tena. I'm using my phone.
Yes, karibu.
So you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you.
My teaching philosophy centers student-centered learning, inclusivity, and engaging my learners. I therefore believe that each learner has unique abilities and strengths, and I therefore tailor my lessons to cater for the diverse needs of my learners.
Okay. So usiseme mingi, like if you choose one side, just go to one side. Like if you talk about learner ability, just choose that as your philosophy. Usisi mix, but that's a good idea. Like that's a good response.
So I only choose one and elaborate on it.
Yes, one that you feel your philosophy is what you feel strongly about in learning. Like, do you feel that every learner is all learners are the same? Do you feel like all learners are different and they should be treated differently? Do you feel like all learners, the thing that you feel about education?
Okay.
Devin, karibu.
So, I don't know if mine is correct. You can listen.
Yes.
So, mimi nikiuliza what is your teaching philosophy, I'll say something like, I believe all learners are capable of learning if given an opportunity to learn. So as a teacher, I must encourage all my learners to do their best for them to succeed. So
Yes.
I don't know if that's in a sound correct.
Yes. That is correct. That's correct. Because it is your
Okay.
belief, your philosophy is your belief,
Yeah.
and for you, you believe that everybody can learn. So what you can talk about is how do you now let's answer that question. How do you ensure that your philosophy is present in your learning, in your classroom? How do you ensure your philosophy is present in your classroom?
Okay, nijaribu.
Ni wewe tunauliza, ala.
Oh. Okay. So what I do is I encourage all my learners to do their best in their studies. So that means even if a student fails in an exam, I will try to find out why and encourage them to improve. And in that way, all students get to succeed.
Now that one is called what you've just talked of is you provide multiple opportunities for success. So the other thing that you can talk about is ensuring that your classroom is a place where the learners can come and think. You make it an environment where it encourages thinking. Vitu kama hizo.
Okay.
You just say nice things, but that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Benjamin, tujaribu tena. Thank you. Benjamin.
Okay.
Thank
you, Rashid. My teaching philosophy goes like this. I believe in creating a student-centered learning environment where each student feels valued and empowered to take charge of their own learning by incorporating active learning strategies and integrating technology and making lessons to be engaging and also setting high expectations for myself and my students to succeed in life and creating a positive learning environment.
Very
Thank you.
nice. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Gaki, Sam.
Okay. Thank you, Rashid. My teaching philosophy states that every learner deserves an equal chance to be heard, and it is my duty as a teacher to create a learner-friendly environment for this to happen. Thank you.
Good. Jacob, Kinywa.
Hello, thank you, Rashid.
Uh-huh.
My teaching philosophy is that the students have got different abilities to learn, and it is the responsibility of I, as a teacher, to create an environment that is interactive, so that every individual student's ability is catered for. Thank you.
Good. Now let's go on to what is your discipline philosophy? Anyone who's ready, you can raise your hand. Benjamin, aukweka mkono chini. Sijui ni kuanze tu na wewe tena. What is your discipline philosophy? Devin,
Tanijaribu.
mkono yako iko juu. Haya, endelea.
Discipline philosophy. So mimi chenye naweza fikiria, though sijawahi ona swali kama hiyo, but what I think naweza sema to me is discipline begins with the teacher. So as a teacher, I need to be a role model for my students so that they can learn from me. Another thing is setting clear rules and expectations, where I set rules, and in these rules I engage my learners, because learners find it hard to break rules that they set themselves. So by setting rules and being consistent in the routines that is set for them, then discipline will be achieved. Sijui kama hiyo iko sawa ama
that
nimeuma
is well
nje.
done. That is well done.
Ah,
That is well done.
okay.
Haya, mwingine nani anaweza kuendeleza? Just raise your hand if you want to try it out. And these things of philosophies about discipline, philosophies about all these teaching, these are questions that don't get tied. Like, don't be like, oh, hiyo sijui ni nini. No, don't get tied on that, because it is what you believe in. So if you believe in something, that is what you do, and you just stick to your facts. Just tell them, like, this is what I believe about children, and this is what should happen to them, and stuff like that. Aya, Steven, endelea.
Thank you. I believe that the discipline philosophy is being able to guide the learners or the students on what to follow, and being able to praise the good behavior instead of mocking students or learners. And I also believe giving learners a chance to be able to express themselves. You give them a chance to listen to them. And then I can say it is being able to take control of the class and be able to set rules and guidelines on what learners should do.
Yeah, that is well answered. You are the leader, you're the class leader, and you give them a chance to be you give them a chance to be children, but also you have to be sure that they are doing what they're supposed to do. All right, question number 3. How do you help students develop positive thinking in your subject? And make sure it is you talk about your subject. So everybody should talk about their subject. How do you help students to develop positive thinking in your subject? Anyone ready? Just start. Yeah, Jacob, endelea.
Thank you very much. In order to develop positive thinking in mathematics, which is my subject, what I usually do is that I try to demystify the concepts in mathematics by having learners in small groups, grouping them according to their abilities for concepts which seem slightly simpler. And for those concepts which seems a bit difficult, I make them in smaller groups whereby we have those students who are better being the group leaders and assisting the others who have, do I call it low ability? Who have lower ability to come up and maybe be at the same par with the group leader. Thank you.
Usiseme low ability, useme who are not at grade level.
Thank you.
Hiyo ndio
At
language.
grade level.
Not performing at grade level. That is the best. The correct language.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but that is well done. Anyone else wants to? Lillian, karibu. Lillian, utaji unmute. And you can always raise your hand. Please don't just say it yeah, ukingoja. Leo ni siku ya question after question after question. Aya, Gaki, endelea. Unmute.
Okay.
Yeah.
In English, I believe in the power of positive thinking. And this is a great way to foster positive learning in English language by reinforcing positivity in my learners. For example, focusing in what they know instead of what they don't know.
That has not come out clearly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because it is an action. What do you do in? You see, like the previous Jacob said that he groups learners. Those who know something, they go together with those who do not know, then they try and learn together. So that is positive thinking. You know, like there's an action that you do in your classroom. So what is this action? And it might not even be in class. It can be outside of classroom.
Let me think about it first.
Let
me think a bit.
Tabitha, endelea. Utaji unmute, eh? Kumbukeni kuji unmute. Tabitha ameshindwa ku unmute. Lilian Kinuthia, endelea.
I would say
I
would start my lesson with a visual aid that will help the learners to have a picture of what I am teaching. Then I would group them into groups and try to see whether they have understood the visual aid, then introduce my lesson. After that, I'll also what do I say? Let me stop it at that.
I have not heard the concept of what positive thinking in that. Aya, mtu mwingine? Tabitha, karibu.
Oh, no, I'm on. Thank you. In biology,
yes.
As I introduce the topics, I'll try to spark interest by asking questions that will enable learners to think positively about what we are about to learn. Sparking interest with questions like, why do we eat? Why are leaves green? Spark that interest, and you let the learners hang on positivity from the word go, and also do a lot of hands-on activities and exploration in and out of the classroom, in the lab, etc. I'll also try to connect biology to real life so that the learners can think positively of what we are doing and they see the reality in it. Thank you.
Good. Connection to real life. Hebu tupatie example of a connection to real life.
I'll connect biology to everyday issues.
No, give
like
us a specific example.
all right, like
one specific example of connection of
like
biology.
yes. Like the example I gave, why we eat, importance of food, different nutrition requirements, where does food come from? You teach photosynthesis in that. You associate, how we eat with various diseases, lifestyle diseases. Those are real life issues.
Yes.
That the young minds can really take in and develop interest.
Sawa. Good. Well done. Now, my
Can I
next.
try?
Yes. Please try.
I will tell them the importance of maths in real life situation so that they love maths. For instance, I will tell them how math is connected to engineering, how math is connected to architecture, how math is connected to art, how math is found in each and every aspect in real life situation, so that they get now to like maths every day. Then again, tell them how maths is just easy, it's about calculation, and how I will be helping them to do those calculations.
All right.
I don't know. How is it?
I would say yes. Like, hapa kuna, as long as you argue your answer, we agree with it. Tabitha? Unmute. Ama ilikuwa by mistake. Jacob.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
After I had talked about grouping them into smaller groups, what I usually do after the assignment, then I see the improvement. I usually go to the next step of rewarding those who have exhibited the positive improvement in that particular assignment. How about that one?
And those who have not, what do you do with them?
And those who have not, I also reward them because I want to believe, even if it is a simplest, slightest improvement, it's an improvement because you start by small, then you rise up high.
Yeah, so your rewards are not really about those who have made a positive improvement.
It is a reward for everyone for participating and taking part in the assignment.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And also being active in that particular lesson.
That I have seen. That is okay.
Thank you.
All right, question number 4. What are some student actions I will see when I walk into your classroom? Very particular. What are some student actions I will see when I walk into your classroom? Aya, nani anaenda first? Aya, Davin answer. Meanwhile, the rest you can raise your hands as we go. And let's learn to know when to mute, when to unmute, hivyo. Davin answer.
So naweza sema, if you walk to my classroom, you'll see an interactive class where students are actively engaged in group discussions at different learning centers. And in these discussions, I tend to provide enough work such that the whole time of the whole lesson time is well catered for so that no student will finish up their work first and remain idle. So that means enough learning material are provided and enough tasks are provided to cater for the whole lesson.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Let's go to let me open the queue. The next one is Consolata.
When you get into my classroom,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to find that maybe there is student in small group, a large group also. You're also going to find me moving around the classroom, helping students who are struggling. You also might find the student having role play. Yeah, that is it.
Yeah. And it's okay to just show like paint a picture of what's going to happen. Like your class, you've really painted a good picture. Yes, that's good. Rashid.
If you walk into my class, the first thing you'll see is the talking wall,
Mm-hmm.
a class which have charts. If it is mathematic models, we have the models. Apart from that, you'll see my class students are in small groups discussing concepts. They
Ni kama network yako inapotea ama ni mimi tu? It's
network
like
yangu ni mbaya.
ulipotea. Hebu repeat what you said.
Okay, pole. You will see me as a teacher walking from one group to another as I see what they are doing. They are also consulting me. I will also be marking as I walk from one group to another. I am marking the assignment. Yes.
I want you to stop talking about yourself. Huh? Be
Okay.
talking about the
Okay. Let
children
me
more. We'll be
repeat.
there, but we want the children more than you.
Okay.
Yes.
You'll see a talking wall, a class full of charts, models, mathematic models. You'll see student concept. They will be asking questions and answering. That is peer learning. They will also be doing role plays. For instance, as a teacher, I can instruct one of them to go and demonstrate a concept on the board.
And you came back to yourself again.
Okay. All right.
But that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Tabitha and Alea.
Well, you're likely to see students doing discussions, like most teachers are saying, discussion in small groups. You're likely in a biology lesson, you're likely to find my students doing experiments that will involve activities like observations, recording, writing conclusions by inferring to their notes. You're also likely to find students maybe doing presentations on a task that maybe I had given earlier and they're presenting. You're likely to find students maybe asking questions and I'm answering them. You get into my laboratory, you're likely to find students following safety measures while handling chemicals and while using lab equipment and things like that. Thank you.
Sawa, wewe umejisema mara moja tu. That is okay. That was well done. Jacob and Alea.
Thank you. When you come into my class, you see students taking part in group discussion in very small groups, whereby the group leaders will be taking the other members of the group when through the assignments given. You also see the learners interacting with the models on the tables depending on the topic being learned. And also, you'll see my learners solving problems by collecting and analyzing of data. Thank you.
Well done. Priska.
Okay. When you walk into my classroom,
You will see my learners actively engaged in group discussions, group presentations. You'll also see my learners peer teaching, whereby the gifted learners will be teaching the below average learners. You will also see learners answering oral questions asked by the teacher, and also the learners will be noting down points from the blackboard written by the teacher. Thank you.
Usiweke teacher, but that's okay. Benjamin, karibu. You're next. That's the last person.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. As you walk in my classroom, you'll be able to see a vibrant and dynamic learning environment with a student-centered layout, desks arranged in clusters to facilitate group work discussions. And in those clusters, students will be there discussing and having purposeful discussions. You'll also be able to see learners taking part in the projects and hands-on activities. And you'll also be able to see happy, engaged students doing collaborative activities together. And also you'll be able to see learning stations, different areas of the classroom designated for specific activities and having student displays on those learning stations. Thank you.
Good. Now, just to summarize, like all that we've said is good, but if you want to take it a step further, you can say that if you walk into my class on many Mondays, you will maybe, like someone talked about the stations. If you walk into the class on Mondays, you'll see learners in learning stations, because that is when we implement learning stations. And in these stations, every station has a different activity and the learners are going through it. But if you walk on Wednesday, you'll again see a different environment, because that is when we'll be dissecting insects and we'll be doing hands-on activities. So there will be a lot of noise in the classroom. Learners will be excited. People will be trying to explain concepts, referring to books and things like that. Then you can talk about Friday. And then if you walked in my class any of the days, what you have guaranteed to see now are those groupings that I talked about. Then now you can say all that. So to make it dynamic, just to do like 2 or 3 days of specific things that you do in those days. And then, for example, if you walk into my class on a Friday, there's a lot of noise, because in Fridays is when we do all the games. We do a lot of games on Fridays, and usually the games bring a lot of noise in the class. So you might find that the kids are really arguing with each other, trying to compete, trying to make noise, trying to win while they're learning the concept. Good, that is well done. Question number 5. How do you encourage parental involvement in the children's education? How do you encourage parental involvement in the children's education? Or how do you encourage parent involvement in a child's education? Soon as you're ready, please raise your hand. Start with Consolata.
I would encourage for us parent, for example, by sending them emails at the beginning of the school year, or maybe that semester. I could also maybe call the parent and tell them about their student. The student is in my class. The student is doing good and all that. I can also invite parents in my classroom to come and maybe just see what is happening in the classroom.
Yeah. But speak in present. Speak in present tense, like I do it like this. That is what you speak in. But you've said the right thing. Lilian, karibu, sema.
Poa.
Answer our question.
Actually, I wanted to say I write emails to my parents, and sometimes I have class conferences with my parents, and sometimes I send SMS to my parents about the performance of their kids.
All right. Not yet. Only two people have answered the question. Lillian, that's okay. I agree. Ruby? Ruby, you'll have to unmute yourself. As Ruby is looking for the unmute, Benjamin, you can move ahead.
Yes, I do write emails to students' parents and also messages, and also I do send a congratulatory note to the parents when my students fare on well. And I also have conferences with parents in specific days of the term. Thank you.
And what of this? You know, the parents of kids who don't get engaged are these kids who are not doing well. So hao nataka pia museme juu yao. But what you've said is okay, like it's correct. But I want us to also think about this kid who is not doing well. How do you involve their parent?
Okay.
Ruby, I think now you can you can hear us, huh? Because we can hear you.
Yeah, yeah, I'm ready.
Yes.
So this is how I involve parents in the child's education. Number one, call them for parents meeting at the beginning of every term so that we can tell them what to expect and the activities that are going to be involved in school. Number two, involve them in academic tracking. Academic tracking is whereby they're able to follow up on their students' performance. Those who are improving, the parents will be able to know that their kids are doing well. Those who are not doing well, their kids, the parents will be advised on how to assist their kids in performing well. Number three, it's the academic clinic, whereby involve the parents to go around to each and every subject teacher so that they can meet the other teachers who teach different subjects so that they can also assist them. Then of course involve them in disciplining of their students. If there's a child who is not disciplined in class, involve their parents by informing them on their behavior, and if they improve, I should also inform the parents that they are doing well. And maybe the parents can also assist in gifting or rewarding their own children after I inform them about their child's behavior or their child's performance. Thank you.
Yeah, well done. Hiyo ni mzuri. Question number 7. How do you assess student learning in your classroom? How do you assess student learning in your classroom? Tutaanza na Benjamin. Unmute yourself.
Thank you. I have two ways of doing assessment for my students. One way is by use of formative assessment, and the other way is by use of summative assessment. On formative assessment, I engage my students in asking oral questions during the lesson, and I also do observation when they are doing projects and experiments. And on the summative assessment is whereby I team up with the teachers who teach the same subject so that we can come up with a summative assessment. We set it together as a team on a particular unit or during the end of the term. That is the ways that I use to assess my students. Thank you.
Yeah, that is well answered. Consolata?
I normally assess my student in 3 ways. First, we have diagnostic assessment. This is whereby I normally test the students whether they have a prior knowledge about the subject that I'm teaching. And then there is formative assessment. This one, we do it in the classroom. For example, the student can raise up their hands. I can say, for example, those students who think the answer is A, they should come on this side. Those who think the answer is B, they can come on this side. I can have a quiz question on the chalkboard, and then I will mark it myself by going around the classroom, checking the learner's exercise book. And then there is a summative assessment. This one we have to team up with the colleagues and about a certain, for example, as an English teacher, there is a certain act from a set book. Then we can do something about it and come up with questions for the students.
Oh, well said. Now, usiseme exercise book, useme notebook. Hao wanaelewa tu notebook. So change your statement to notebook next time, okay? Anyone else? Anything that has not been captured? There's a lot of assessment issues that have not been captured. I know. Anyone else wants to bring in something, some form of assessment? Lillian, your microphone is on. You can as well just go ahead and say it.
Hapo nimekuwa Rashid. What can I say?
Wait, tuambie tu.
Wacha nione ni nini haijasemwa hiki.
Assessment kuna mingi. Assessment even in game
class discussions.
Yeah, hizo.
Yeah. Peer to peer, or what can I say?
Yeah, but just give us an explanation. You see, like someone has just given us an explanation of how they actually do it. How does peer-to-peer assessment occur in your class?
When you have two students, one asks question, the other one answers, response, and then also they all in an alternating way.
And
yes.
And those who are teaching, we used to do this when I was in school. We used to have someone reads your assignment and they give you a grade, and then you read theirs and they give you a grade, and then the teacher gives the final grade. I don't know whether that still happens, but that is a form of peer-to-peer assessment. Any other assessment?
Also, you can give students projects to complete, and then make presentations.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, and wall sijui inaitwaje wall something. Hii kitu watoto wanatembea it's called what walk, watu wa English. Something walk, where the kids are assessing what they put them on the wall, and then the kids just come in and start looking through and saying, oh, this one is good because of this, or critique. Sijui inaitwa critique. Ama hiyo amufanyi. There's so many.
I have a question.
Yes.
A question.
Endelea.
Can you talk about, like here in Kenya, we have RATs, random assessment. We have CATs, continuous assessment. We have topical quizzes. Can you also talk about those? Do they understand or understand those?
No, but you just explain it. It doesn't mean that they should understand, but just tell them how you do it. Then they will understand.
Okay.
Yes, but you can talk about them.
Okay.
Yes. For example, there is a regional mock. Sijui kama bado mko na regional mock. Easy regional whatever, like 2 schools or 3 schools or 3 zonal, those things. Talk about them, because those are the things they are looking for. They're just seeing whether you have diverse ways of assessing students.
Okay.
Question number 8. Oh, no, number 7. No, we are done number 7. Number 8. How do you integrate technology into your teaching? How do you integrate technology into your teaching? Tuanze na Rashid.
Thank you. I use technology to prepare PowerPoint presentation with graphic organizers, which I display in class for learners to see. That's one aspect. The second way I use technology is to ask the students to use their phones or their tablets to check the meanings of keywords that we use in class, the vocabulary that we might be using in class. So they check the meaning of those keywords using their tablets. There are also some application For example, here in Kenya, we use Zeraki, where there's a lot of assignments, the topical assignments, end term examination. So at the end of any given topic, I can tell my learners to go and sign into the Zeraki application, and they do assignment on a particular topic. Apart from that, I also use the interactive board as I teach. Yes.
Those who do not have technology in their schools, because I know most of us don't have technology. How do you use technology? Can you answer that question? Apart from saying I do not use technology, can you think of another way of how you use technology? Gaki.
Okay, in my school that is a bit marginalized, we are not, I don't use technology so much, but I make sure that when the students are at home, they borrow their parents' phones, and I have created WhatsApp groups whereby I send assignments there, we have voice notes, and we are able to interact. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. That's a one way of looking at it. Any other? Watu wengine hawajaongea tangu waingie, sijui nini mbaya. Priska, endelea. Unmute yourself. Okay.
Okay, to add on what they have said, I also use my phone to take photos that are relevant to the day's lesson. Then I show my learners during the lesson. And also use Kahoot, whereby I motivate learners by giving them points. Lakini hiyo hatufanyangi, Rashid.
Hata venye umeisema ni wrong. Sasa usiseme. Because what you've said is not correct. So, wachana na Kahoot.
Ni sawa.
Consolata, endelea.
Okay, what I can say is using technology in the classroom is one way of differentiating instructions. So as for me, as a teacher, what I normally do is sometimes I have photocopies. I do printing. We also watch television. We have some programs on the television that come from the set books. That is it. Also, I give some work to the student to go and do it at home with their parent phones.
Television mulikuwa mmekataa ati sio technology. Na television ni technology. Even though it's not modern, but it's a good form of technology. Good. Question number 9. How do you know that students have understood what you're teaching? How do you know that students have understood what you are teaching? Wenye hawajaongea Aki. Aya, Dennis, karibu.
Yeah,
Hala, Dennis umepotea. Network yake ni kama imeenda. No, Dennis, your network has a problem. So let's go to Ruby as we wait for him. Ruby, endelea.
Okay, one way that I can try to find out if my students have understood what I've taught is the facial expressions. Sometimes when you teach something, you just find the students nodding their heads or maybe smiling. And if the concept is tough or if they've not got the concept, you'll find them just bored or gloomy. Number two, it can be through the different assessments that we just talked about, like the formative assessment. From the formative assessment, you'll be able to know if the students have understood your concept, then they'll be able to answer the questions well without a problem. But if they've not understood the concept, then definitely most of them will not be doing well in the quizzes or the rats or the cats that will be giving them. Number three, if you give them like maybe a task to do, you'll find them asking questions every now and then. Maybe, Miss, can you repeat this? Can you repeat this? Can you repeat this? Then definitely it shows that your objective was not achieved, or rather the students did not understand what you are teaching. So there's so many ways to find out if the students have understood the concept or not. Thank you.
Very nice. Richard?
Okay. I think on that question, I can tell if my students have understood what I'm teaching through various ways. The first one, I can get them to talk about what we've learned. And from there, I'll be able to see how they're going to respond. If I can see that they are able to relate or explain what you've learned, I'll know they have understood. Number two, through quizzes, especially interesting quizzes through something like Kahoot, for example. If I had earlier prepared the questions that they can answer quickly through Kahoot, I can be able to know that this concept and this one they have not been able to get it, so that I remedy it. And various other assessment methods that may be quick, especially when you talk about formative assessment. Thank you.
Can someone talk about high level, like what is one of the high level things you can do to ensure, to know that the kids have understood? Anybody has an idea? Richard, endelea.
Oh, I was.
Oh, you are lowering your hand, and I lowered it for you. Okay, we lowered at the same time, and then now it ended up you raising it.
Okay, let me listen to others first.
Okay. Anyone wants to give us a high level way of making sure that if you think of Bloom's taxonomy and you think of the higher level, higher order thinking, how do you know that students have understood what you're teaching? What would you do? What would you give? Like, if you talk about an application environment, what is it you could do? Yes, Priska.
Okay, if I may say that after teaching, I normally give them some projects to carry out. So if they can be able to carry out those projects effectively, then I'll know that learning has taken place.
That is a high level way. Yes. Tabitha?
All right. I want to put in what we do in agriculture. We give them application tasks. Like we go to the farm, you observe them to the concept that you taught theoretically in class, and then you see what they are doing. We also give them projects, like all of us maybe know in Form 4, there's an agriculture project that the Form 4s do that apply everything that the students have been learning all through from Form 1. Yes.
Okay, Tabitha, endelea. Tabitha.
Oh yes, so it's about assessing them, applying the knowledge through activity, hands-on activities, hands-on experiments that you look at them as they do and you call them. And also, like someone has said, giving them projects that you assess as they continue doing them.
All right. Rashid?
Maybe at the end of the lesson, you can give them exit tickets to see where they write a brief response to a question, or they can summarize the key points of the lesson.
That's a nice one. Good. Now let's talk about question number 10, which is tell me about an interesting topic you have taught most recently. Tell me about an interesting topic you have taught most recently. And here we want to do like math, English, special education, hivyo hivyo. Mtu wa special ed kama huko, hebu sema. Anza na wewe. Nani ni special ed? Aya, mtu wa maths. Special ed wamekimbia. Mtu wa maths. Aya, Ruby, endelea. We ni maths, eh?
Yeah, what's the interesting topic that I thought recently is on fractions, whereby most of the time the young kids like learning through seeing. So when you bring materials and you cut in front of them and you show them that a half is the same as maybe 2/4, and they're able to see that this particular shape has been cut into 4 and this one has been cut into 2. But when you take 2 parts out of 4, it is the same as a half of this particular cutout. It's so interesting, and learners always enjoy the lesson.
Now, when you're answering this question, just tell them the reason why it was interesting for that particular day. Like, why was it interesting? So what you've said is okay, but if you want to add some more.
Okay, it was interesting because learners were engaged in the lesson, were actively participating in the lesson.
Yes, because in this particular lesson, you are using what we call manipulatives. Those are manipulatives. Huh? So, and what happened is that the learners brought in their ideas on how to get shapes. And we would also look at irregular shapes because, for example, we would look at how would we get 5/3 in using shapes. And that was a very nice way of explaining fractions. Kitu kama hiyo.
Okay.
Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Aye. Gaki, endelea.
Okay, there is this lesson I taught the other day on adjectives, that is in English. And it was very interesting to hear the learners describe the teacher using different adjectives. They went ahead to describe their fellow classmates. They went ahead to describe even where they come from, the types of cars, the houses. It was actually very interesting and very fun. I was able even to know how my learners perceive me. Thank you.
Of course, this was after I had given a caution that we should not border into bullying. Sawa. Just make sure you throw that inside.
Oh, yeah.
Sawa. Rashid, endelea.
It was interesting teaching probability in my class. So the introduction part of it, I told them that probability is all about past experiences. If you want to know what's going to happen next, we look at the past experiences. So I gave them specific example of Premier League. I asked them, if you want to put a bet for Arsenal, what do you look at? If you want to put a bet for Manchester United, what do you look at?
Rashid, hapana. You cannot say that example. You're hawezi.
Okay, fine.
Betting, haiwezi.
But let me finish. Or?
No.
Okay.
Look for another one.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah, look for another one. Don't say betting. Hey, that one you will. Utakuwa umechoma.
Okay.
Yeah. You can talk about other things, but not betting. Because betting is not, first of all, under 18 should not bet. Now, how are you talking about betting in the classroom?
Okay.
Yeah. So the way it is a gray line. Anyone in math teaching statistics, you can give us ideas of how people can use statistics in an interesting way in a school. Because you have to think through all these things. Yes, Jacob, tuambie story of
Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
I had an interesting lesson about matrices. What I introduced about the addition and subtraction matrices, whereby the learners were able to come up with the tables concerning the games they play in school, whereby in our school we have different houses. So we are able to come up with a table of construct of how they can create a table for a particular in the tournament in mathematics. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Aya, Ruby, endelea.
Okay, I wanted to discuss about the topic of statistics. It's so interesting teaching statistics to students, whereby you try to inform them about how we get the mean, mode, and median. And then you give examples of how factories or industries make items, like maybe the sizes of shoes. When you go to maybe Bata, whereby it's a shop that sells shoes, you'll find that most of the sizes are maybe between size 38 to 40, and that gives you the majority of the numbers. And maybe the highest or the number of shoes that are mostly bought are maybe those with size 39 or size 40, and maybe it's hard for you to get maybe size 46. And you can ask students to say this type of sizes or the sizes that they put on, and it is fun. Or even trying to find out the colors that it's liked by most of the students, or maybe the kind of food. So it's easy for you to teach the topic of mean meaning
Yeah.
median, the number which is in the middle after arranging them from the smallest number to the biggest number.
Good. Now, I want to just piggyback on what you've said.
Yeah, thank you.
If you are to teach statistics, what you would do, just the same thing. You would just go to, okay, this is an interesting topic that I taught last week, because last week I was teaching statistics. So what I did, okay, this is my answer. What I did is, in the morning, when the students were coming in, my class came in a little earlier than the other classes. And everybody had a clipboard and paper. Their role was to take the shoe sizes of everybody getting into the school. So when math lesson, we got to the math lesson, now we started calculating the mean, the median, and the mode. And alafu sasa unaweka hizo numbers zenye ulikuwa unasema. So this is relatable to students in the school. The other students in the school also saw the way your class was excited taking the numbers, and you're teaching them life skills. So that is a way that you can talk about a lesson I recently taught. But that's an idea. By the way, mjue ati hizi ideas tunasema hapa, many people eventually get to hear them, and maybe you get interviewed by the same person. So then if you say that you taught the statistics with shoes, na mwingine pia aseme aliteach statistics with shoes, watauliza ai wewe unatubeba malenge. So make sure you're creative. But I'm just getting ideas from the fly. But that's a good idea. All right. Question number 11. What do you do when half of the class do not have prior knowledge of what you are going to teach? What do you do when half of the class do not have prior knowledge of what you're going to teach? I answer, Tabitha.
Okay, if half of my class do not have prior knowledge, meaning that half of them have the knowledge, I'll make use of those who have the knowledge to introduce the knowledge to their peers through maybe well-designed group activities.
Unmute.
Sorry. Thank you very much. What I would do, I have half of the class which have the prior knowledge and half which doesn't have the prior knowledge. I would group them into smaller groups, whereby learners with the prior knowledge will be the group leaders in that particular group. Then give them an assignment of what we are about to learn, so that those with the prior knowledge can introduce the knowledge to those who not have. then we are at the same level to continue. Thank you.
Only 2 people have talked. Ebu wengine wakuje. There's some people are just joyriders. Ebu joyriders, moja aongee. Watu wa library. There are so many things you can do, and they are all correct. Like there's no specific thing that you have to do. Haya, Ruby, endelea.
Personally, if half of the class knows the knowledge while the others do not have, what I'll do is introduce the lesson fresh so that each and everyone is able to master the knowledge from the start, understand what they're going to learn about. Then, according to the lesson plan, there's a part whereby we have learners' activities. Now, during the part of the learners' activities is when I'll group these learners into groups, and now either the 2 ways that I can make the group, either the ones who have the knowledge will turn the others, or the ones with the knowledge can be put in their own groups. Then these ones who are a little bit behind, I as a teacher will remain with them so that I can continue teaching them so that they're at par together with the others.
All right. Any other, those who have not spoken, please? Eva, Philois. Tunaona tu. Tumenyamaza. We listen and we don't judge. Sawa. Question number 12. How do you deal with students refusing to follow instructions? How do you deal with students refusing to follow instructions? Nani ame unmute? Endelea. Someone has unmuted. Oh, Ruby. You're the one who has unmuted.
You've not told us what we should answer with that part of half of the learners having the knowledge and the others have not.
No, that's okay. Like what you guys said was okay. It was fine. Haikuwa na nini. It doesn't have a specific answer, but you can talk about grouping them. You can talk about pulling the other half and giving them instruction about the basics, while the other half tackles something to ensure that they have the correct type of knowledge. You can talk about so many things, and what you said was all correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So how do you deal with students refusing to follow instructions? That's the next one now. Oh, are we Gaki uko sawa?
Yeah.
Anza.
Okay. When students fail to follow instructions, what I'll do is that I remind them of the classroom rules and regulations calmly. And if it's maybe one student, if he still doesn't hit to the rules and regulations, I call them aside outside for some few minutes to try and find out what the problem is. And if I realize that the problem is deeper than what I thought, maybe I can book an appointment with the student later in the day after the class. And maybe I may involve the parent in the same. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Tusikia Richard anasema nini? Richard sema. But uko na feedback.
Oh, feedback. So let me get to a calm place kidogo. Ni jioni. Okay, on my side, if I find that a student is not following instructions, if it is a case of all the students or a number of students, it may be many students or one student. So first of all is to find out from the students why they are unable to follow those instructions. there could be a problem with my instructions, or they could be themselves the problem. So if I identify, because not all students cannot follow instructions, can be a few, I can identify that student and talk to the student so that he or she understands why it is important to follow instructions. And if need be, if I find that maybe the instructions that I gave are maybe not very clear, I can then involve the students so that we make clear instructions like rules and their consequences. And then from there, we can then make a follow-up to see that they follow those instructions. If I find that the problem is deeper, then I may escalate to the next level, maybe the parent, or if need be, the school administration. That is, if the problem I find I cannot be able to handle on my own. Thank you.
Good. Well done.
Good. Well done.
Lillian, endelea. Unmute.
I'm saying mine might not be much different from what the rest have said, but one, I'll try to find out why the students are not following the instructions. And sometimes students never follow instructions because they don't fully understand what is expected from them. So I'll set my instructions to be very clear. And then I will also break I'll ensure that my instructions are very simple, clear, and break them into manageable steps. Then I'll try to find out those ones who have not followed the instructions.
Of the learner and the student and the consequences of the learner and the student and the consequences of not following those things. Looking through and seeing what the student has done and the consequence to that. But I want to add maybe something I have seen working. I'm a long-time teacher. Yes. So when you have a collaborative approach to the discipline of the learner, like you share with teachers, you ask your colleagues, how does so-and-so behave in class? This time around, he did this. And then you have a collaborative approach with your fellow teachers and possibly involving the parents, involving the administration, etc. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, now I want us to talk about a disruptive learner. Can you describe a particularly challenging teaching situation you faced and how you handled it? For this situation, I want it to be a disruptive learner. If you're ready, just raise your hand. Dennis, endelea.
Can you get me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Yeah. How to handle disruptive runner? I think what I can do is in a class situation I'm teaching and the learner is disrupting maybe a neighbor learner. I may maybe give an eye contact if I'm somewhere far from that guy. Then if he persists, then I may go closer, maybe try to inquire. Maybe the learner may be missing something, maybe a writing material like a pencil, maybe has lost something. So if I'm able to provide, I'll provide it, and then learning continues. And if maybe the action continues, if he continues to be disruptive, then maybe write something like don't disturb the class, others concentrate and others continue learning. Then maybe see me after the class, we can talk about the problem. I don't know whether that can be.
All right, we'll take it. We'll take it. Next, we still need answers. We still need answers. So please give answers. Raise your hand if you have an answer. Hala. Aya, Tabitha. Tabitha, si wewe ndio umesema sahihi ama hiyo ilikuwa tofauti? Endelea.
Okay, okay, depending on how severe the issue is of disruption, one, I can move maybe closer to the students. If I was far off, maybe in front of the classroom, the child is at the back there. I get closer calmly to the students just to find out what is happening, how can I help you. I try to remain calm to the students, and maybe de-escalate what the student want to show in the classroom, and maybe later have a personal conversation with the learner after the lesson to find out more what was happening.
Any other? Yes, endelea, Priska.
Okay, there is this learner who refused to work out some assignments that I had given. I called the learner aside, tried to talk to him, and then I realized that the tasks that I had given were much complex for the learner. So I solved the problem by giving the learner some easier tasks to work. And I was pleased because the learner worked them out.
All right. Now, I want to play a video. Sijui kama mnaweza kuisikia huko. I hope that you're able to just watch this video on your screen and we shall discuss it. It's only 52 seconds long.
Caleb, cool it. Okay, everyone, I need you to get your papers out from yesterday. Those need to be on your desk. Caleb, if you do not have yours out, that will be a 0 for this assignment. Caleb, I am not going to play these games with you today. Pick up the paper or go to the office. Pick it up.
Oops. What did I do? Well, someone has removed my presentation as I was presenting. Let me disable screen sharing from the other end. Allah.
Class, do you understand what I'm saying?
Let me take it back a little bit.
These games with you today. Pick up the paper or go to the office. Pick it up. Caleb, I don't know what your problem is, but you will not be disruptive in my class. Do you understand what I'm saying?
What y'all looking at?
That's it. To the office. Out.
All right, so let's discuss that situation. Oops. Let's discuss that situation. Is the teacher right?
What?
She's not.
Nimeogopa.
Utaweka mkono juu na tuta discuss. That is what we call disruptive environment. So let's start with Tabitha. As we go, muweke tu mikono. Aya, endelea.
Oh, from our experiences in Kenya, that's a bit strange for a student to, be like that. But at one point I saw the boy picking the paper as instructed. the teacher said you pick the paper or go to the office.
Mhm.
So if I were in the same situation with the lady teacher, I would just divert or redirect the lesson to something else after the boy has, or the young man has taken the paper and sat. I think, yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you.
All right, Lillian and Leah, is the teacher right?
No, to me, to the Kenyan style, I can say yes, but to the US, no.
No,
What the
even
teacher,
no, even the Kenyan. Let's not say at the Kenyan US nini. Even in Kenyan, is the
no,
teacher
the
right?
teacher was not right at all.
So what wrong did the teacher do?
By telling the student to go out after the continuous disruption. Maybe what the teacher should have done, as I can say my colleague teacher, the teacher should have redirected the attention of the student. Then after the lesson now, he calls the student to try and find out what was the problem, and they try to work it out together.
Higher, next person. Who is the teacher right? Yes or no? Why? Mildred, is the teacher right? Mildred, ni kama network yako iko.
Because she decided to send the learner out as learning was going on. So probably the learner missed part of the lesson as others were learning. So for me, that was wrong.
Mhm. Mildred, umemaliza?
Yes, nimemaliza. Kutuma mwanafunzi nje ni wrong na lesson inaendelea. Ati anamwambia aende kwa
Na si nyinyi mmesema you will escalate the situation to the next level. Now I just wanted to bring that so that we see whether this, because she has escalated it to the next level. So that is what we are discussing. Benjamin, tell us whether the teacher was right or wrong. You have a lot of feedback, Benjamin.
Yes, the teacher was not right because she was shouting and yelling to the student. And that is one way that she agitated the emotions of that student. And number two, she sent the student outside the class when the lesson was going on. What she was supposed to do is to calmly redirect the students very well and try to capture his attention to what is, to the activity that is going on during that particular time. That is my thought.
Richard, hebu tuambie.
Okay. In my opinion, I would say the teacher was not very right in the way she behaved. Number one, she did not take her time to find out why that student was in the first place. Then number two, she took a drastic action of sending the learner outside before exhausting other mechanisms that were within her disposal. So in my opinion, I feel she could have done better, maybe finding out why the learner is disruptive and handling the situation in a calm way. Because sometimes when you yell at a student, you also, it's like you catalyze. The yelling is not received well. So you find a way of handling the matter calmly before now escalating to the office and other places. I think that is my take.
All right. Now let's talk
Now
about the kid. What is the problem with this kid? Those who have talked about, sijui niko na progressive discipline plan. Sijui, I will talk to the parent. What's the problem with this kid? They're in your class. What is the problem? Hebu nione mikono zikienda juu haraka haraka. Aya, Bilha, endelea.
Rashid.
Bilha.
Yes, Rashid.
Mhm.
I think the student is not just interested in learning. The reason could be maybe the content being given to him is so complex, so he doesn't get anything. Because even after picking the paper, he sits down and the teacher gives instruction and he mumbles some words. So he's not just interested in learning. The reason I may not know.
Okay. So Tabitha, what is the next thing? What do you think is the problem with the kid?
I think the child is agitated when the teacher says he will be graded a 0. Maybe he fears the grading and all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what type of culture is this class? Is this a class where what type of culture is this teacher inculcating in the kid, in the student, in the students of this class? Are they doing the work because they want to, or they're doing the work because they have to? What do you think? Like when you see the instructions of this teacher, do you think that the teacher is, because she mentions Bill has says, hey Richard, your feedback yako ni mingi. She mentions that, oh, if you don't do the work, you will get a 0 straight away without mincing words. Yeah, taki maneno. So what do you think? How can we help this teacher? Because this is maybe you. Well, we want to help you. So how can we help this teacher? Maybe it's your colleague. Someone to give us ideas. Because seemingly it looks like everyone is in agreement that the teacher was not correct. But how then do we correct this? Every answer is correct. Si musiseme tu ati lazima ikue nini. Aya, Ruby, tuanze na wewe.
I think this teacher is trying to handle 21st century learners, whereby they're not handled the way we were handled during that particular time. And from the video that we just shown, this boy could be distracted either by the system in school, the way teachers handle them, or even maybe he could be having problems back at home, maybe parental separation or something like that. How the teacher handles the students, how the teacher handles this particular student will determine how she's going to handle all the other students, because the other students are seeing. So the best way to handle these students, because they seem to be in adolescent stage whereby they are agitated by anything and they can show you anything, and it seems like they don't care of the repercussions thereafter. So I think the teacher should just cool down. Maybe could have called the boy later on, or maybe just cool the situation, then try to solve the problem later on with the student and even together with the class, or maybe seek assistance from the guidance department.
Mm-hmm.
And also the teacher needs some I don't know, workshop or something on how to handle these teens, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Aya, bila ulishasema ama mkono yako bado iko juu?
Now, Rashid,
Ama
you've
unaongeza?
talked about
Yes.
we've talked about creating a relationship with our students. So this teacher, seemingly, she doesn't have a relationship with her students because if she did, okay, it's so evident from the way she gives instructions, and you can see from the rest of the learners in class, it's like they're fearful. There is fear instilled in them. That is a clear indication that maybe the teacher does not have that good rapport relationship with the students. Because if that is the case, then she ought to have maybe approached the student, then maybe establish what the problem is. The other thing is the teacher needs to embrace the progressive discipline plan that we've talked about here. Because before referring the student to the office, like a colleague said, there are other options, like getting to know what the problem is, maybe just giving a verbal warning. And we've said that if you're giving a warning at times, you just need to move near the student instead of shouting and maybe embarrassing the student in class. So she needs to embrace that progressive discipline plan.
And meanwhile, this is an act. This is an acting. It's not ati watoto walifanya hivyo. It is an acting. Ilikuwa short with acting. Now, the other thing I want to ask is, what about the proximity? When we're talking about proximity, did you see proximity because someone talked about, oh, I'll go close this kid? Do you think that proximity would have worked in this case? Your thoughts? Watu wameshtuka mpaka wakasema hawataki kuansa questions. Tabitha, endelea.
Oh, I think it's me who mentioned about maybe moving close to the learner to
Yes.
find out what's the disruption about. And it will be upon the teacher's judgment to know when to move close or not. Because like the case at hand is severe. It's the child is hostile. So no way the teacher will move close to that boy because atawekwa slap ama there will be some bad interaction. So it will depend on the situation when the teacher now decides, for example, if the learner is becoming disruptive because ako na simu ama amefungua laptop. In such a case, you can go close and tell the child, Ebu concentrate, Ebu look at me, Ebu, let's do what we are doing. But in this case now, it was not advisable to move close to the learner.
Any other thoughts? Anybody else has some thoughts? Nani ameweka mkono akaweka chini? Sijaiona vizuri. Yes, Mildred.
For me, I think proximity can only work if there's positive classroom environment. When there's good relationship between the teacher and the learner, then maybe you can have that opportunity to ask the learner, like, I don't know, there was Kyle. People are removing their papers and you're not removing yours. Can I know what the problem is? But you know, if the situation is there's so much tension, the teacher is also losing her cool, then probably the learners can go to defense or fight mode. So it's not easy to be close to learners in such situations. So in this situation, no, proximity cannot work. Thank you.
Consolata, endelea. Unmute yourself.
Of a disruptive situation, it's not even advisable for a teacher to just be close to that student. I think the best way is whether to ask the student, unamuuliza tu whether he needs help. Mpatane huko nje.
Eva, karibu sana. Unmute yourself.
Thank you so much, Rashid. Okay, in this case, I think the teacher overreacted. So coming close to the learner after overreacting is not advisable. It could only apply if the teacher was calm from the beginning.
Now, I want to play the clip
that
again.
Is it.
Thank you. I want to play the clip again, but I'll stop at Katikati so that we discuss some aspects again.
Caleb, cool it. Okay, everyone, I need you to get your papers out from yesterday. Those need.
All right. Is there anything wrong up to that level? The first 10 seconds. Hivyo endelea ama mkono yako iko ni ile ya kitambo? Can I play it
Ni
again?
ile ya kitambo, wacha niteremshe.
Haya. Tabitha, endelea. Hala?
Nilitaka kurequest to replay kidogo tena
Okay. Let me play again. 9 seconds.
Caleb, cool it. Okay, everyone, I need you to get your papers out from yesterday. Those need to be on your desk.
Mm-hmm. Because it's one thing saying, oh, progressive discipline plan. But now if you're given the progressive discipline plan, Richard, endelea.
If you look at the first 9 seconds, the way that student is behaving, even the body language, the way he sits, it clearly shows he's not interested. That is what I've picked. On my side, look at that. See the way he's seated, I just don't care. There is something wrong with the student. So as a teacher, you pick such clues and then you see how to mitigate them.
All right. Tabitha?
Okay, to me it seems like actually it's like the boy is coming to class when everybody else is seated. He's late. He's from somewhere, so he already has something. Possibly not the first time he's coming late, I don't know. Now that we know it's an acted something, I don't know our judgment, but he looks like he's coming late and the teacher already knows that he's not a good boy, so the teacher is already on him. The way he's sitting, dragging, stretching his feet, the teacher is already picking, some strong indiscipline on him.
Mm-hmm. Now, with this in mind, I want us now to answer this question. The question is, question imepotea. What strategies do you use to motivate students and to maintain their interest in your subject? Because this is a student who needs motivation and who needs to be interested in the subject. So what strategies do you use to motivate students? What strategies do you use to motivate students and to maintain their interest in your subject? Students like that one, that is an unmotivated student. So tell us what you do for such a student. Sorry, the people in YouTube, I just removed that so that it cannot be, they can strike it down for violating terms and conditions. So it is the same video that we just played. Sasa mtu atuambie motivation. What strategies will you use to motivate this child? When you're talking about students, now we are looking at this child. How do you want to motivate this child now? Mikono. Haya, tuanze. Tabitha, anza.
I'll just mention one because it's a hard situation. But building friendly relationships with learners, friendly. An environment that creates support. Being friendly to the learners will work. And then from there, you can pick from there as a teacher. You're already friends. So other methods of motivation can pick from there. Thank you.
Priska, endelea.
Okay, another one is setting realistic and manageable, what do I say? Realistic and manageable goals that learners can easily meet or achieve.
But hii ilikuwa tu toa kitabu yako kwa bag, surely. But I agree. Aya, any other person? Mildred, endelea.
Can it be mpaka nikuwe na connection? I have connection with the learner so that I can know what Caleb is good at. So maybe I can introduce hands-on activity that can capture his interest. Or maybe use an example of what he likes. Maybe he likes football. I can bring in that example in the lesson so that it can capture his attention and maybe he can stay connected during the lesson. Maybe
the good relationship will protect you in case maybe a student who is unruly. So good relationship is very vital.
Asante. Yeah, someone else had raised their hand and then it went down. Tabitha.
Can I mention maybe about teacher leadership styles while in class? There are those leadership styles tulikuwa tunasoma college, autocratic, democratic leadership, because you know, when you're in class, you're the adult in that matter. You're the adult in that environment, so you're a leader. So I'll go for maybe the leadership we learned called transformational leadership. Transformational leadership that looks at things like inspiring people rather than commanding and being forceful in situations.
Yeah, I agree. The leadership in this classroom was lacking. Leadership ilikuwa ni shinda kabisa. All right, now let's book I think we have really dwelt on classroom discipline, and I wanted you to get that angle of classroom discipline in terms of when you're talking about discipline, look at that student. Don't just think that it is, they're just, maybe I have examples of videos of the other types of discipline that kids are just asking for a paper or pencil. But then as a teacher, make sure you are above and beyond because you are the adult in the room. So if there's going to be a problem in the room, you are the first person that should give guidance. So if you're the first one to give guidance, and sending someone to administration is not guidance, because that means that the matter has ceased to be in your hand. It has been taken over by someone else. And that someone else can now give it some other angle. And this kid is just coming from wherever. Maybe they're coming from admin. And what is causing them to sit on the chair like that is what the admin said. Then 2 minutes later, akuko ofisi ya admin. Then you say, oh, this kid does not obey instructions and all that. While it is your management or leadership style that is creating the problem in the classroom. This kid would have behaved better maybe if you did something else different. So think through it like that when you're being asked those questions. So as we wind up, I want us to talk about professional development. Where is it? Nimesahau hiyo kitu. Okay, how do you stay updated on the latest teaching strategies and educational technologies? That's the question. How do you stay updated on the latest teaching strategies and educational technologies? And that is tie that to professional development, your professional development, and as we wind up, that is the last question of the day. Yaki, endelea.
Yeah, I develop myself professionally by organizing symposiums and workshops in my school from different schools in my region, whereby the teachers come and we share ideas on the trending and the settings of exams. And I also mark a national exam, whereby I happen to update myself with the changes in English and literature syllabus. We also meet with colleagues as we mark the exams and discuss all these things. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. Any other person who can tell us how do you stay updated on the latest teaching strategies and educational technologies? Yes, Lillian? Unmute yourself.
I stay updated by attending seminars.
Mhm.
My school organizes seminars that I attend.
Mhm.
I also attend workshops.
Wait.
Where
Wait. For example, last holiday and the layer.
all right. Like
For
last holiday, I attended a seminar
Mhm.
on integrating technology into my teaching,
Mhm.
which was a success.
Mhm.
I also attend workshops where also I'm taught about how to create an environment that is conducive for my students.
Mhm.
I also stay updated by going to the internet, doing research on new strategies on teaching professional.
Mhm.
Basically, that is what I do.
So good. Aya, mtu mwingine? Any other? Yes, Tabitha. Oh, Tabitha is just saying bravo. Thank you, Tabitha. Rashid Sama.
I stay updated by attending educational seminars, training, and workshops during holidays when schools are closed.
Like which
I
one?
also read.
Like which one?
Like the last one, we attended a training on teachers' performance and appraisal development.
And
TPAD, it's called TPAD.
who organized it?
It was organized by the county director of education.
Okay.
At the county level. I also read educational publications on the latest development on the educational system.
Good. Any other person wants to give us an idea? Tujasikia wale watu wa masters wakiongea. Anybody? Hala? Online community. Yes, online community. Nani ameandika kwa chat. I also say that I participate in an online community so that I can learn new trends in education and also read literature books to get updated. By the way, this thing we are doing here, this is a workshop. This is a professional development. Don't think that because unaona mi nimechakaa huku, hii sio professional development. Sio lazima uvae suti. So you can also say that you attend Google Meet sessions organized by teachers who have ideas on, professional development, and you contribute into those sessions. That is one way of updating your skills. Okay. So that's good. Any other question? Any other answer that we left? All right. So I think that was the 2 hours that I promised of question and answer. Richard akona swali. Richard, endelea.
Okay, my question maybe is outside what we've learned today, but kuna something I would like some assistance. I wanted NEC to help me send a document to Spantran. Now, NEC, they have got a fax number. When you try to use it, it's not working. So I don't know, whoever has been able to send any document from NEC to Spantran, aweze kunielezea what's the procedure.
Hey, fax. Bado unataka kutumia fax?
Yeah, NEC kwa hiyo option yao wako na fax.
Hakuna email?
Hiyo email ndio nataka, because that is the one that it is faster. Anyone who has ever used it, anisaidie.
I remember one of the things we did maybe some 5 years ago. Someone wanted their NEC documents to be sent, and they were actually sent.
Anisaidie na hiyo channel.
Sikumbuki alifanya aje, but that was a long time ago. Anybody amefanya ya NEC atusaidie kama uko hapa. Priska ndio hiyo na help.
Okay, mi sijafanya, lakini kuna friend mwenye alitumia NEC wakatuma nini hiyo PTE certificate hiyo ya P1 then wakatuma huko. So ninaana nauliza if we can get in touch niku link na huyo rafiki yangu akusaidie akuelezee.
Si mko kwa Telegram nyinyi nyote?
Yeah.
Aya, andika shida yako kwa Telegram alafu Priska afuatilie.
Aya, ni sawa.
Andika last time sikupata msaada. I think maybe this time.
Andika tu sahi. Priska hakuwa. Sasa amekuja.
Aya, sawa.
Asante. Any other issue apart from hizi za shule? Yes. Kama kuna issue yoyote hatujasema. Sawa, nawatakieni kila la heri. And I hope to see all of you in this other side in 2025. Lillian, yes.
Sorry, I've cut you short. Let me ask this. What is this they are calling a cultural exchange letter? Sielewi ni barua gani hiyo?
Mtu anataka?
Yes.
Nani anataka hiyo ya jamani? Nadhani ni stories za nini? What cultural activities are you proposing to do here? That would be the letter. That's what I think it would be.
Okay. Inaitwa IER. Sponsor wa IER.
Hebu andika tu barua ya nini. What do you propose to do as a cultural activity?
Okay, because they were saying that it should come from another country. Then kwa quotation wakienda kumalizia pale chini wanasema preferably your country from a school recommending you for a cultural exchange. So I'm wondering, is it this letter that is been for the principal, or because kuna letter ya supervisor, they a letter from a colleague, then there is that cultural exchange letter.
Yeah, I think that is a letter from your principal agreeing with your idea that you're going to that place to learn cultural things. Nadhani ni hiyo. Yeah, I think that's what they're looking for.
Okay. Thank you.
Asante. We have 1 more minute. Bilha, sema. Bilha.
Okay, Rashid. Nauliza, sijui ni Lilian ameulizia hiyo barua. Is it IER ama ni GEC?
IER.
Maybe those are new requirements because I applied with them na sikuona mali waliniitisha barua kama hiyo. GEC ndo waliitisha hiyo cultural support whatever letter. Yes.
And what it was just what we are explaining, Cynthia?
Yeah, it was just that written by the principal to say they are willing as a school to participate in the cultural exchange, whatever program through me. Yes.
Okay. Asante. Rashid, unasemaje?
Nauliza, the paid agency where they want you to do payment once they give you a job offer. If you go ahead and do payment and the visa, you're not sure whether the visa will be granted, what happens now? Suppose you pay and the visa is not granted, do they reimburse?
Sio ni biashara tu sasa, si wamefanya kazi yao. Si payment kama visa haijakuwa granted. Sasa shida ni wewe. Jusu nakumbuka hiyo story ya nani? Kuna story ya mtu ili backfire hapo, sijui alipewa pesa, sijui watu wakaenda kwa embassy wakanyimwa visa, sasa they want their money back, but then the person was saying at mi siwezi kupatia money back because the money has already been utilized in other things. It's not like I was just waiting. You didn't just give me the money to sit with it. I prepared documents, I did this, I did that. So if you pay and you don't get a visa, really it is you who has not done your part of the bargain.
Okay.
If it were me, that is how I would argue. I would say now mimi nilikuorganizia nikakufikisha kwa embassy. Sasa wewe ndio umeshitwa kutoka kwa embassy kuja huku. So anza tena. That is what I would say. But I don't know maybe they have a clause on how to do that.
Yes, they do, Rashid.
What is the clause?
Yes, they do. They have a refund policy. Yeah, like I don't know if you notify them before, I don't know when. Then there are instances they refund half. The instances they refund the full amount. So let him read the refund policy for the agencies. Wako nayo.
Na ukienda mpaka kwa embassy alafu ushindwe alafu ndio sasa urudi, kuna refund. Anyway, aende asome hiyo, si ndio?
Yeah.
Sawa. Gaki sema. Unmute.
Tell us about your classroom culture. Alafu ingine ya mwisho ya kumalizia, somebody told me, I think ni rumor tu, that H1B visa, especially hizi agencies za kulipia, it is very hard for anybody to be denied the H1B visa na hizi agencies za kulipia. So I don't know. How true is that?
Visa is an independent entity. Visa doesn't care whether you umeenda kwa agency ya kulipia ama umeenda na free. They don't care.
Okay.
If they are denying you, they will deny whether you come with the paid one. They don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, but
alafu
alafu nini?
Alafu hiyo classroom culture nimeona tunaulizwa sana. There is a Jack asked me, can you give us your classroom culture? Hiyo ikanichanganya kidogo. Is it the way I start immediately I get into the classroom, the way I start my lessons, the way I progress, ama ni gani?
Classroom culture is about how discipline is managed, how the setup is. Hizo vitu watu walisema when I asked a question of when I say this question of what will I see when I walk into your classroom?
Okay.
It's the same thing. Those things that people mentioned, that is what forms the culture of the classroom.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Sawa. We are 5 minutes beyond, so naomba tuachane watu waende Christmas. I hope this was helpful to you guys. And tuko na 5-week course that I'm selling now. The 5-week course, we are doing other things. These things are others. It is a virtual course. It is not one-on-one. You are supposed to answer some questions and involve yourself in a group discussion. If you want to join, kuna Telegram link, iko na kila kitu hapo. If it goes well, then we shall do a second version of the course later. But for now, I only need 7 people now for that course, because sitaki pia ikuwe overloaded sana na watu wengi. So if you want to, please get into Telegram, angalia hiyo course. I've promoted it there. Itaanza tarehe 5 mwezi wa 1, mwezi wa kwanza. And if there's any other question that we have left unanswered, mtu anaweza kujitokelezea.